Welcome to Java programming tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to use layouts in JavaFX. In our previous tutorial, we've spoken about, I've done an introduction to JavaFX. I've introduced text and text effects, and for this tutorial, we'll be working on layouts, which include HBox, VBox, BorderPane, and GridPane. Before we go to code, I'll show you an example or a picture, an illustration of what this layout about. But a run through of the previous tutorial, we worked on text as we used an anchor pane, which is one of the layout methods. An anchor pane allows you to add components to even overlay each other in your program. But now a text, you can always add a text to your interface. A text is more like the label in JavaFX. In Java Swing, I've explained that in the previous tutorial. And whenever you add the text, you have to set the x and y coordinates of the text and also what you want it to contain. And we worked on fonts, also adding a font, the family of the font, and the size you want. And we worked on the shadow, radius of the shadow, offset, and blah 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 blah, text and reflection. So in this tutorial, we'll be working with layout. And before we go to code, now I wrote, as you can see, HBox Layout, VBox, BorderPane, and GridPane. Now this is HBox. HBox arranges the components of the program horizontally, side by side. So you don't get to have components below or above each other. You only have them to the left or to the right of each other in your in the layout arrangement. Then for the VBox layout, instead of the HBox where you have them left to right and right to left, in the VBox you have them top to bottom and above or below each other. You don't have them in a straight line this way. You have them arranged vertically instead of horizontally. Now the GridPane layout allows you to arrange your components in form of a table. As you can see here, it looks so much like a table and works with a matrix kind of arrangement, which starts with the 0 for the first, and for the first column 0 for the second column it's 1 0, and like that. So at the time you get to the 10th column you have 9, 0. That means the rows are the columns first before the row. So you place the column, the point of the column is before, is the first number, then the second number is the row in which that element is to be added. Now the BorderPane layout allows you place your components to look more like there's this div function in HTML that allows you have this side panes and all that, more like this paint interface. Now you can see this is the top, and we can just call this the center. Now there's no left, there's no right, there's no right, and there's no bottom. So for now, the BorderPane layout allows you place components in the top, right, left, and bottom, and also in the center. So I'm showing you how to use this 4 layouts today, and I hope you understand everything I've said so far. So let's go to our code. First off, we won't be needing all this any longer, so I will just take them out. Yep, let's take all this out. Boom. Or I should just copy that and keep somewhere. I think I've done it already. Yep, I've kept it here, previous tutorial code, so you can still access it in the GitHub repository. So first we're going to create the BorderPane. We're going to start with the BorderPane. So just simply say BorderPane. Okay, it says fix inputs. Now that will add the inputs for JavaFX.scene.layout.BorderPane. So BorderPane, and I'm just gonna name that root, because new BorderPane. Okay, so next we're going to say, now we've added our BorderPane to the new scene. If we run this file and view right now, there's practically nothing in the BorderPane, so you don't get to know how the stuff is arranged in it. So let this run and see what I'm saying. Alright, you can see over here we still have the formatting of the scene as we've left it previously. The BorderPane has been set to the color blue in our code here, and it's width 500 by 300 in the new scene. Now there is no you can see the lines like I have drawn here. No, there are no lines here, so I'm just going to show you how to add elements to those parts, and we're going to be using the text which we have worked on previously. So just say text, new text, because new text, and I'm just going to say, I'm not going to put any position, I'll just say hello world. So just roots that get children, let's add and text. So yep, new text. Oh, sorry, it won't work that way. I'm just going to say root dot set top. I'm going to say set my top to text, new text. Yep. Now if we run this file, we should see this text in the top column of the BorderPane. As you can see here, hello world appears in the top. Now next we're going to add the same text to the left, set left, and new text, remain. Okay, set there was an exception running the main and blah blah blah. So I think we cannot set the new text to the left. How about we set it to the bottom also? Now that won't work either. So what do? We create another text. We can call this text bottom, because new text, and this we can say bottom text. I'm just gonna say yep, and run file. Alright, you can see hello world appears at the top and bottom text at the bottom. So we're just going to create two other texts for the I'm going to change to white. Two other texts for the left and right. I'm just going to copy this and paste, and paste left text and right text. Set left, and you're seeing left text. Set right down here. I'm gonna say right text. So in here you're seeing left text, text, top text. So I'm gonna add one more for the middle. That set middle, center rather, set center. I'm going to say center text. So I'm going to run main, and now we'll see what we have. So like I described in the image here, I said the BorderPane layout has the top column, the left column, the center column, the right column, and the bottom column. So all these columns can actually carry different elements of your choice. Next, I'm going to move to the HBox layout. Like I explained earlier, the HBox layout allows you add your elements from left to right or from right to left, depending on how you want it. But most of the times it goes from left to right. That's the basic way of arranging stuff, except you're using languages like Arabic and others. But now for our HBox, I'm going to add the HBox to the BorderPane. So I'm just going to say I'm going to add it to the I'm going to add it to the bottom. So just say HBox, and yep, that's it. Equals new HBox. Now I'm going to say 10. 10 means the spacing between every element in the HBox. You can increase that to 20 or whatever depending on what you wanted, but I'm going to make that this 10. So I'm going to say I'm going to use a rectangle, yep, instead of the text this time. So just say rectangle java.scene.shape. Yep, that's the one we want. Rectangle rect equals new rectangle, and yep. So what size do we want? I want a 20 by 20 rectangle, and I'm going to add that to the HBox. So I just say bottom dot get children dot add, and in here just say rect. So if I run my file now, I should add one more rectangle to that. Just copy this and paste it. I just add one here and another one here. I'm gonna make this 30. Yep, and now run this main file. Okay, so as you can see, our bottom now has two rectangles, and the spacing in between these two is 10, but now there is no spacing between these rectangles and the wall of the border and the BorderPane. There's no spacing there, and naturally this is not good. So I'm just gonna add spacing in between these parts, the edges of the rectangles and the frame itself. So just close this, and on the HBox I'm just gonna say HBox that we're gonna set padding. Set padding means create a space in between the contents of the HBox and the sides or the border of the HBox. I hope you understand. So just say bottom dot set padding, and yep, that's it. So insects, I'm gonna say 10. Oh, sorry, we don't have an, we just say new insets, and we say 10. Now insets means left, right, top and bottom, but because we cannot just input integer values, we have to say new insets. We have to create We can also create the insets separately and add it to the padding method, but I'll just prefer you do it this way. Now if you don't want to just say 10, probably you want the insets at the bottom to be less than that at the top, we can just add a comma here and say comma, and just say 4, 10, 10. So now we have top 10, right 4, bottom 10, left. So I'm just going to change this to 20, and let's run this and see. Alright, there you go. So as you can see, the spacing between this side and the bottom is actually higher than the other. Like you can see here at the top I said 10, at the right I said 4, at the left I said 10. So this is 10, the same as this part here, and the bottom I said 20. So this spacing is double this. That is about adding insets to HBox layout. So next we're going to use the VBox layout, and I'll be using that on the right part of the BorderPane. So where is our right part? Yep. And you're just going to say VBox, new VBox, take that out. That would add JavaFX.scene.layout VBox. As you can see, these are the things we've used for now. We've used the BorderPane, HBox, and VBox, and we've used the rectangle and the text. But we've not used fonts in this. This was from the previous tutorial, so I'm just going to take that out, and all these too, because they are not of use for now. Okay, so we're treating the VBox part, and I'm just going to say the same spacing 10, and the same padding method. So I'm just going to say right text dot set padding. That was some wrong spelling. New insets, and just leave that at 10 for everything, top, right, bottom, left, just 10. Let's add 2 rectangles like we did previously, but this time we're going to say right text instead of bottom, and yep. So run main, and let's see what we have. Oh, sorry. Rectangle. I'm just gonna leave that rectangle, and rectangle 1. Now you also have to watch out for your names, for the name of your variable, so you don't get to have issues in running your code. That's a basic programming rule. Every variable has to have a different name. So as you can see, previously we had, when we were using the HBox, our rectangles were arranged horizontally, but now we're using the VBox, so our rectangles are arranged vertically. That is it about HBox and VBox. So finally we're going to the GridPane. So just come down here. Here I explain a GridPane allows you to arrange your components in a matrix format or in a tabular form in rows and columns. So I'm just going to create a GridPane with 2 columns, and you can add as many elements as you want to as many rows as you prefer. You can add as many rows as you prefer, but you just have to set the number of columns you want. So I'm going to call a GridPane now. It says GridPane grid, because new GridPane, and this